A lot of people still love and adore Vanna White, the famous American actress and TV personality. The part she played on Wheel of Fortune is still famous and an important part of her great career that got a lot of attention from the public and the media. Fans are shocked that she isn't on the show, though, which makes things more interesting. Vanna White has now come clean about why she quit Wheel of Fortune, what made her decide to do this. Check out this video to see what Vanna White really said and how shocking it is. Before we get into why she hasn't been on the show lately, let's go back to her early life and how she got started on Wheel. From a young age, Vanna White wanted to be famous. She worked as a letter turner on Wheel of Fortune for many years before she became famous. She was born Vanna Marie Rosich on February 18, 1957, near North Myrtle Beach in Orion County, South Carolina. Joan Marie, Nicholas, and Miguel Angel Rosich adopted her. She also grew up with only one parent because her parents split up soon after she was born. She grew up in North Myrtle Beach with her single mother Joan and Joan's second husband Herbert White Jr. Herbert was a real estate agent before he became a famous real estate expert. During this time, Vanna changed her name to that of her dad. From her family, Christopher George, her uncle, was on TV. He is an actress who was in Rat Patrol. When she was young, she told people that her dream job was to work in television, saying, "To be more precise, my wishful thinking was to be among the most prestigious film personalities." In fact, one event that stuck out in Vanna's young mind was when she was 10 and had to go to the hospital after having an appendectomy. One time she was watching the TV show Rat Patrol when her mother said, "That's your Uncle Christopher George on TV." That scene stuck with her forever and made her want to work in the entertainment business. Vanna has wanted to work in the theater business since she was a child. This desire led her to be very determined, go through some hard times, and take some chances. The U.S. Census said that Ponce's father's side of the family was from Mallorca, Spain, but they later moved to Ponce, Puerto Rico. This, along with the help of her family and Khmer roots, made Vanna a strong and confident woman in her work. After Vanna graduated from high school, she moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to go to the Atlanta School of Fashion and Design and start modeling at the same time. In 1979, she showed a lot of bravery by moving to Los Angeles to try to become an actor. But her way to the top was never easy, even though she had to deal with challenges the whole way. Vanna had almost no money this summer of 1980, and she also got the sad news that her mother had died of cancer. She called her before going back to South Carolina to be with her family during these hard times. At this point, she talked about her problems in public, and some teens knew she couldn't pay her rent and didn't want to take money from her dad out of pride. She did nude modeling jobs because she needed the money and because fame made it hard for her to make enough on her own. These jobs got her attention from the media. She didn't give up on her dreams, though, and she didn't give up on her drive either. So determined was she to make a big break that she even competed on The Price is Right in 1980. The experience, even though she didn't win, was her first time on a game show and paved the way for her future job in TV. Vanna White's early years were hard in many ways, both personally and professionally. How did Vanna finally get her big break? And what does she say about why she quit Wheel of Fortune? Check back to find out. Vanna's career and breakthrough in Hollywood in the early 1980s, there was a young woman who was very determined to reach her goals. The big break seemed so far away even though she was going to auditions or getting small parts every day. It came as a surprise to her that 1982 would be a big year for her in both her personal and work life. In that one year, she beat out 200 other applicants to become a co-host on the popular TV show Wheel of Fortune. This was a big deal because it took her from being a low-paid actress to becoming famous all over the country almost overnight. Vanna was very talented, but it wasn't just her ability that made this moment possible. It was also her hard work and determination before the show. Because she was so polite and had such beautiful moves on the show, she quickly became famous and then loved. Because of her nice personality and beautiful smile, she became well known. Vanamania was then a word used to describe how crazy popular Vans were by 1986. Vanna was on the cover of prominent magazines like Newsweek and People, and she also played on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Vanna couldn't believe how quickly things changed when she thought about how famous she was. Because of this, she remembered her co-host Pat Sajak talked less. She had to be the one to lead the conversation and talk to the viewers. For some reason, she did most of the interviews, which led to Vanna Mania. That's why she joked and said thank you, Pat, to show that they worked well together. Vanna White was always a simple woman, even though she was well known and high class. He couldn't help but think back to the times when there weren't many women working hard to reach their goals. She worked her way up and became one of the most famous TV stars of her time, but she never lost her charm. It all started with her childhood dream of being on Rat Patrol. How does Vanna White's work make her a formidable and important figure? Stay tuned as we talk about Vanna's amazing success. Vanna's biggest wins. It is therefore careless and unfair to write Vanna White off as just a sign and a pretty woman posing for Wheel of Fortune. Even though she became famous as a regular guest on this great show, her fame comes from having charm, good communication skills, and the power to win people over. From the beginning, Vanna didn't want to have a lot of contact between her real life and her role on TV. She also knew it was important to keep this wall up, so she put her problems aside and only did paperwork for the studio. So Vanna Bowen followed this rule and created an on-screen character that was interesting but not too noticeable. She became an important but not very noticeable character in the show. As the show Wheel of Fortune became more famous, Vanna White's job changed too. At first, she was seen as nothing more than a symbol, beautiful but impenetrable. But as the show got more famous, more people and the media became interested in Vanna's life outside of the shows. In the mid-1980s, there was a real culture phenomenon called Vanna Mania that was caused by her natural charm and her eagerness to talk about supposedly private parts of her life. During this time, Vanna was on the covers of many well-known magazines and was a frequent guest on talk shows on TV, including one with Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. This got her more attention from the media and was a big part of how her public image changed from that of a game show co-host to a celebrity. To learn more about her life, reading her 1987 book, Vanna Speaks, was very important. In this book, Vanna, the author, got to go into great depth about her experiences, the problems she faced, and the way she overcame them in her personal and professional life. She was able to write about herself in a way that was true to life. She accomplished a lot, even though she showed her flaws. Fans grew closer to her because they could see something in her that they could connect to instead of just admiring her as a glamorous TV star. When it comes to her appearance, Vanna White clearly plans everything, right down to the clothes she wears. She doesn't wear the same things on air and seems calm while she's being filmed. In this way, she was honored in a way that will go down in history. In fact, Vanna was listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the TV personality who got the most applause in 1992. In fact, she was charming, and the skillful editing of advertising photos was a big part of how she won over millions of people. People recently said nice things about Vanna, saying she's both a great actress and a nice person to talk to. One can see how her rise from a wannabe actor to a well-liked celebrity shows not only her skills but also her drive and dedication. What do you think Vanna may have been going through in private? Stay tuned as we look into the specifics. Vanna White's personal life and struggles. Unfortunately, Vanna White had some personal problems that made it so hard for her to get through bad times. When her boyfriend John Gibson died in a plane crash in 1986, it was one of the worst things that ever happened to her. This tragedy changed her forever. Vanna kept working for the show Wheel of Fortune after the deaths of her loved ones. It was a familiar place for her to be that helped her forget the pain. She said she would never forget the day she learned of Gibson's death on May 17, 1986, and how she was shocked and fell to the floor. She knows that time changed her a lot when she thinks about it. On the other hand, Vanna was a strong survivor, at least mentally. He was a restaurant owner, and she married him in 1990. They had two children together, Nicholas, born in 1994, and Giovanna, born in 1997. But in 2002, they got a divorce to show that they were no longer married. After that, she had a short-lived relationship with a U.S. businessman called Michael K., but they didn't end in marriage. Later, she found happiness and success with John Donaldson, a real estate broker, and they work well together. Her determination to do her job to the best of her ability made her a TV personality that people like to watch. Even though Vanna has lost everything she has ever worked for, she seems very calm and steady. But did Vanna White have to deal with anything else? Let's talk about her lawsuits and court cases. Vanna White's lawsuits. In 1993, Vanna White sued Samsung Electronics over an ad that showed a robot turning letters on a game show. She said the aid violated her personality rights. At first, a lower court sided with Samsung and threw out White's case. Later, though, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit overturned that ruling, which meant White's case could go forward. The court said that the robot's look in the ad reminded them of White's job as the letter changer on Wheel of Fortune, even though the robot wasn't actually White. A lot of people were interested in how the law should protect a celebrity's image or character, especially when that image isn't used directly but is suggested by something else, like a robot in this case. Even though White was found guilty, not all judges agreed with the decision. In a strong dissenting opinion, Judge Alex Kozinski said that the ruling went too far in protecting images of celebrities and could make advertising less creative. He thought that letting White's claim go through would set a bad example and make it harder for businesses to make ads that reference or hint to famous people in a creative way without directly copying their image. After the appeals court made its decision, Samsung asked for the case to be heard again, thinking that the new decision would be different. The court turned down their request. Samsung then tried to bring the case to the U.S. The Supreme Court, which might have made a final decision on the matter. Even so, the Supreme Court chose not to hear the case, so the Ninth Circuit's ruling stood. So a jury later gave Vanna White $43,000 in damages for the illegal use of a figure that looked like her. What other problems did she have that hurt her career? Let's find out. Problems with Vanna White. Being in Playboy magazine in 1987 got Vanna White a lot of attention, which shocked a lot of people in Middle America. But there was more to the story behind the pictures than met the eye at first. Instead, the pictures that were released were from 1982, 5 years before Vanna became famous as the co-host of Wheel of Fortune. She was an aspiring actor and model who was having a hard time making ends meet at the time. Someone who had nothing to do with Playboy took the pictures. When Vanna was already well known from Wheel of Fortune in 1987, the photographer sold the pictures to Hugh Hefner and Playboy without her permission. When Vanna learned that the magazine was going to print the pictures, she was upset, which was only natural. And because she thought of Hugh Hefner as a friend, she talked to him directly to try to stop the release. Hefner refused to stop the release no matter how hard she tried. When the pictures were made public, Vanna was crushed. She thought the pictures were not like the good, family-friendly image she had built up on TV. She then sued Playboy for $5, $2 million, saying that the pictures were. They never meant for anyone to see them, and that making them public would hurt her image. She said that the pictures would hurt her reputation as a humble, good-natured, all-American girl who was seen as pretty and pure. Vanna sued both Playboy and Hugh Hefner personally. To defend itself, Playboy said that Vanna knew they were going to post the photos. They even said it sounded like she wanted the pictures to come out at the same time as her autobiography, which was coming out around the same time. Even though the case was eventually dropped, it was a tough time for Vanna's career as she tried to keep the scandal from negatively impacting her public image. What are some of the awards and praise she has received? Check back to find out. Vanna White's awards and honors. Vanna White's job on Wheel of Fortune has changed a lot over the years. When she first started, she was known for silently flipping alphabet tiles. But as the show went on, she started to interact with the contestants more. With this change, she was able to make her encounters more personal, which viewers really liked. People looked forward to seeing her on the show because of how kind and friendly she was, which added a human touch to the excitement of the game show. The audience felt a strong link with Vanna because of her genuine charm and honesty. Her talks with contestants were full of words of support and encouragement, which made them feel close and like they could relate. People became more emotionally connected to her as her job changed, which showed how flexible she was. Vanna went from just writing revealing letters to being a comforting and known figure in the homes of millions of people. Vanna got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2006 for her important services to the entertainment business. Along with the stars she got in the United States, she also had stars added to the Walk of Fame in Canada and the Walk of Stars in Palm Springs in the same year. These awards showed how well-known she was around the world and how much of an impact she had on the entertainment industry. The choice for Vanna to join Wheel of Fortune was a turning point in her career. It helped her become famous on TV. This important part changed her life and will always be remembered in American pop culture. Vanna became a popular character because she was always in prominently on the show. She became a symbol of the fun and excitement that Wheel of Fortune brought to its viewers. The way she presented letters became a tradition and an important part of the show's culture. What's interesting about Vanna's story is how her spot on Wheel of Fortune showed how she had grown as a person and in her career. Her growth on the show showed how she had grown and how determined she was. Even though she was faced with a number of problems, she stayed calm and showed the poise and professionalism that people admired. In the United States and around the world, she earned praise for her dedication, persistence, and the unique charm she brought to the screen. How much money does Vanna White have? We'd soon find out. Money, estate, and earnings of Vanna White, a famous co-host of Wheel of Fortune, has a net worth of $85 million thanks to her successful work. In the past few years, she has made more money from both her work on TV and smart real estate purchases. From 2005 to 2023, 18 years. Vanna White's pay from Wheel of Fortune stayed at $3 million a year, even though the show was a huge hit. Pat Sajak, her co-host, was making $15 million a year, which was a lot more. It was possible to raise her pay from $3 million a year to $75 million a year. Adding in the money she makes from other shows, like Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, her yearly income now tops $10 million. Vanna has also been a smart real estate owner in addition to her work on TV. When she was married to her ex-husband George Santo Petro, They lived in the gated neighborhood Mulholland Estates. Hollywood stars like Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty were their neighbors. They built a huge 15,000 square foot home together in the fancy Beverly Park neighborhood. After they got divorced in 2002, they rented the house out for a crazy $175,000 a month. They chose to sell the estate in 2017 and put it on the market for $47.55 million. The house was finally sold in 2020 for $19.3 million, and they also sold a nearby lot for $22 million, and they also sold a nearby lot for 20. Vanna is still involved in other real estate deals. She really loves investing in apartment buildings and selling houses quickly for a profit. The house she lives in is 10,000 square feet and is in the hills above Beverly Hills. For $3.5 million, she bought this house in the early 2000s. It's thought to be worth more than $10 million. Vanna also owns other properties, such as a house in Sherman Oaks, California, that she paid more than $1 million for in 2013. In 2020, she put this house on the market for rent and asked for $20,000 a month. Since she has made a lot of money through real estate purchases, she will continue to be wealthy for many years to come. What else has she done besides acting? Let's find out. Vanna White's volunteer work and other interests. Vanna has also tried her hand at other things, like starting her own yarn line called Vanna's Choice, which shows how much she loves knitting. She is flexible and smart about business because she can use her stage in creative and business-like ways. Vanna's career path has never been about just the puzzle board. She's a complex person with lots of hobbies and a strong desire to improve herself both personally and professionally. Vanna does a lot of charity work when she's not working as a TV actress. She donates to many good causes, like those that fight heart disease and help children's hospitals, which shows that she wants to help her community. In jest, Vanna once explained her part on Wheel of Fortune by saying, "It might not be the most intellectually demanding job, but I have to know the alphabet." This joke shows how self-aware and humble she is, qualities that have helped her connect with audiences for a long time. People like Vanna not only for her work on TV, but also because she is friendly and easy to talk to. When Vanna looks ahead, she sees a lot of chances. Representatives from the entertainment business say that she is getting a lot of job offers from networks that want to take advantage of her fame and popularity. She would bring elegance and warmth to any network's programming, said a person who knows Vanna well and thinks she would be great as the host of her own talk show. The idea of Vanna taking on new TV roles shows how well-liked and respected she is, and it also shows how her career could soon go in a very exciting new way. Vanna has a lot of personal interests that she is very passionate about besides her work. She really loves taking pictures and especially likes to do it when she travels. Classic cars are another thing she likes, and she has a few of them, like a 1957 Thunderbird and a 1982 Rolls-Royce Silver Spur. Her other favorite thing to do is collect souvenirs, and she has an amazing collection of Barbie dolls. This collection has unique, limited edition items that show how much she loves classic Americana and memories from her youth. Vanna's many hobbies show a playful side and give her more depth than the character she plays on TV. What really happened when Vanna White quit Wheel of Fortune? Let's find out. Fans are shocked when Vanna White says why she quit Wheel of Fortune in 2023. Vanna made headlines when she warned that she would quit Wheel of Fortune if her pay requests were met. Vanna had made a lot less than her co-host for lots of years. Pat Sajak. Sajak was said to make $15 million a year, but Vanna was only said to make $3 million a year, which is a huge difference given how long she had been on the show. Vanna got fed up with the pay gap and decided to do something about it. She wasn't just against personal wealth. Vanna used this situation to bring attention to the bigger problem of unequal pay between men and women in the entertainment business. She thought that her actions could inspire other women to demand fair pay. Wheel of Fortune was getting ready for a big change at the same time that Pat Sajak announced he was leaving the show. Vanna's contributions to the show have always been more than just turning letters, but this opened up new doors for her. What happened with Vanna White's sudden absence from Wheel of Fortune over the course of 5 shows made fans nervous and unsure about when she would return. There was a lot of talk until it was revealed that she was away because she had a positive coronavirus test. This break happened at a big time for the show Pat Sajak's last season as host, which marked the end of an era for the popular game show. As the season went on, people looked forward to this party-like environment of saying goodbye and remembering good times. Vanna, who is known for having a warm nature, talked about how important this season is and how important her long relationship with Pat is. They've been married for 41 years and have so many good memories. She talked about how happy and sad she is. These events are not only a celebration of Pat Sajak's amazing career, but also of all the moments that have been made on Wheel of Fortune over the last 40 years. In an open interview with People magazine, Vanna talked about how she felt about Sajak's retirement and the personal and professional problems it caused her. She talked about how unsure she was about her future by saying, "You should think about it." Vanna thought about her worries and asked, "What will happen to me if you go? How can I keep going without you here?" She has a close relationship with Sajak, and these comments show how hesitant she was at first to keep going without him as show host. When asked how she felt about the upcoming honors and events planned for Pat's death, Vanna said, "We have some really cool things planned to do to say goodbye to Pat at the end of this season." Vanna White has officially renewed her contract and will stay with Wheel of Fortune through the 2025 to 2026 season. This shows how dedicated she is. Her new deal shows that she is dedicated to keeping the show's traditions alive and building a strong connection with the more than 10 million people who watch her every night. Fans of Wheel of Fortune can rest easy knowing that Vanna White will continue to bring her charm and grace to the show, leading it through this change in a way that stays true to the show's image that has been built over many years. With Vanna's promise to stay with the show and Ryan Seacrest joining, the old game show has a fresh start. This new part of the show looks like it will keep the beloved traditions alive while also opening up new possibilities for the future. What does Vanna mean to her fans and how has she changed their lives? Check back to find out what Vanna's fans and society think about her. Vanna White's effect goes beyond her career on Wheel of Fortune. She has become a cultural icon whose influence can be seen in many forms of media and popular culture. There are many references to her in movies and TV shows that make her look like the perfect game show co-host. For instance, the cartoon show. For fun, The Simpsons has a spoof called Wheel of Fortune in which a character based on Vanna spins letters with almost mechanical accuracy, making fun of how well she does on the real show. This lighthearted tribute shows how important she is and how deeply she is rooted in pop culture. Saturday Night Live has also used Vanna's image as a source of inspiration many times. In different sketches, players have worn her famous sequin dresses and written letters in her signature style. These funny impersonations show love and admiration for her legendary status in the entertainment business. In addition, Vanna has had small roles in movies such as Naked Gun 33 and A Third The Final Insult. Vanna recently renewed her contract, which shows that she wants to keep the show alive and keep in touch with the many people who watch it every night. Now it's your turn. What do you think about what Vanna White said? Tell us in the space below. We're glad you watched this video and hope you thought it was interesting. Don't forget to save and like the video. You can watch the next movie on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity news. I'll see you there.